The rain had been falling for hours, tapping softly against the windows like restless fingers that refused to stop knocking. Inside the quiet house, the world felt suspended in time. Every room carried a strange stillness, the kind that settles after something important has been lost. Before we begin, if you're someone who loves emotional stories that pull you in from the very first second, stories filled with heartbreak, mystery, love, betrayal, and life-changing truths, then make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Every single week, I bring you powerful stories that stay with you long after the video ends. Stories that make you think about the people you love, the secrets they hide, and the choices that can change everything in an instant. And tonight's story, this isn't just another drama. It's a story about grief, forgiveness, second chances, and the painful truth that sometimes the people we love the most are the ones carrying the heaviest secrets. Ethan stood alone in the hallway with a screwdriver in his hand, staring at a cabinet hinge that had already been fixed 10 minutes earlier. Still, he tightened it again and again, not because it needed fixing, but because keeping his hands busy was the only thing stopping his mind from collapsing under the weight of memory. For the last few months, this had become his nightly ritual. Tiny repairs around the house. Loose screws, flickering lights, squeaky doors, crooked shelves. Meaningless little problems that could actually be solved. Problems with instructions. Problems with endings. Life had stopped giving him those. The hallway light buzzed faintly above his head before finally stabilizing. Ethan stepped back and wiped his hands on a faded cloth hanging from his pocket. The silence in the house wrapped around him immediately. It was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Heavy quiet. The kind of silence that made every thought sound louder. From the kitchen came the soft sound of running water. His mother was washing dishes again. Ethan glanced toward the doorway and saw Linda standing at the sink with slightly slumped shoulders, moving slowly as if every motion required effort. The dishes had already been washed earlier that evening, but lately she kept washing clean plates over and over again. Maybe she needed distractions too. The yellow kitchen light cast tired shadows across her face. Ethan noticed details he had somehow missed before. The faint lines near her eyes had deepened. Her movements carried exhaustion hidden beneath routine. She wasn't old. Not really. But grief ages people differently. And this house had seen too much grief. Ethan leaned against the wall and watched her quietly for a moment. There was a time this kitchen used to feel alive. Emily dancing barefoot near the stove while breakfast burned, because she got distracted telling stories. His mother pretending to complain while secretly smiling at their laughter. Music playing too loudly on Sunday mornings. Coffee brewing before sunrise. Now the rooms felt hollow, like echoes of another life. And Emily. Just thinking her name made something tighten painfully inside his chest. A year. It had been an entire year since she disappeared from his life without explanation. No goodbye. No warning. No fight. Nothing. One day she had been curled beside him on the couch talking about places they wanted to visit someday. The next day she was gone. At first Ethan thought maybe she needed space after one of their small disagreements. Everyone needed breathing room sometimes. He waited a day before texting her. No response. Then another day. Then a week. Calls went unanswered. Her apartment was empty. Friends claimed they hadn't heard from her. It was as if she had vanished from the world overnight. And the worst part wasn't the anger. It was the confusion. Because heartbreak is easier when there's someone to blame. But Ethan never found a reason. Every night his mind replayed their final week together like a broken film reel. Every conversation. Every expression. Every pause. He searched desperately for signs he had missed. Had she stopped loving him? Had he failed her somehow? Had she met someone else? Nothing made sense. And unanswered pain has a dangerous way of growing larger in silence. Ethan. His mother's voice gently broke through his thoughts. He looked up. Linda had turned off the faucet and was drying her hands with a towel. Her eyes lingered on him carefully, like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. Yeah. You should get some sleep. He almost laughed. Sleep. That word had become meaningless months ago. Instead, he gave a small nod. In a little while. She hesitated before turning back toward the counter. That hesitation caught his attention. Something felt different tonight. Ethan frowned slightly. Mom. She froze. Only for a second. But he noticed. Slowly she faced him again. Yes. You okay? For a moment she didn't answer. She looked down at the towel in her hands as though gathering courage from its fabric. Then she forced a small smile. I've fine. The answer came too quickly. Ethan knew his mother well enough to recognize when she was hiding something. And lately, there had been moments. Strange moments. He'd catch her staring into space. Or entering his room only to leave seconds later without explanation. Sometimes she looked at him with guilt hidden behind concern. At first he ignored it. Tonight he couldn't. He walked toward the kitchen slowly. You've been acting strange lately. Linda's fingers tightened around the towel. I've just been tired. No, Ethan said quietly. It's more than that. The room fell silent again. Rain tapped steadily against the windows. Somewhere deeper in the house, an old pipe groaned softly. Linda looked suddenly smaller standing there beneath the dim light. Not weak. Just burdened. As if she had been carrying something heavy for far too long. Ethan's chest tightened unexpectedly. Over the past year, he had been so consumed by his own heartbreak that he hadn't fully realized what this situation had done to her too. She had watched him fall apart piece by piece. Watched him stop laughing. Stop sleeping. Stop living. And through all of it, she stayed steady. Quiet. Patient. Never forcing him to move on. Never telling him to forget Emily. She simply stayed beside him through the wreckage. Without thinking, Ethan stepped forward and wrapped his arms gently around her shoulders. Linda stiffened in surprise. Then slowly relaxed into the embrace. For several seconds neither of them spoke. The moment felt fragile. Human. Painfully real. I'm sorry, Ethan whispered. Linda frowned slightly against his shoulder. For what? For making this house feel sad all the time. Her breath trembled. Oh, sweetheart. She pulled back just enough to look at him. And Ethan immediately saw tears gathering in her eyes. That frightened him. His mother rarely cried. Not openly. Not where others could see. But tonight something inside her looked dangerously close to breaking. Mom. There's something I should have told you a long time ago. The words landed heavily between them. Ethan's heartbeat slowed. Not from calmness. From instinct. That strange human instinct that warns you your life is about to change. What do you mean? Linda looked away. She moved toward the dining table slowly, almost reluctantly, and sat down. Ethan followed, confusion building inside him. The old wooden chair creaked beneath his weight as he sat across from her. The dining room suddenly felt colder. Linda opened one of the drawers beside the table with trembling fingers. Then she pulled out an envelope. Worn edges. Slightly crumpled. Old. Ethan stared at it. Something about it immediately felt important. Dangerous even. Linda placed it carefully on the table between them. It came a week after Emily left. The air vanished from Ethan's lungs. He looked up sharply. What? Her voice barely rose above a whisper. It was addressed to you. Ethan's eyes locked onto the envelope again. His name was written across the front in familiar handwriting. Emily's handwriting. The room tilted slightly. For an entire year he had searched for answers while this letter existed only a few feet away from him. His pulse thundered painfully in his ears. You had this the whole time? Linda's eyes filled with regret immediately. She asked me not to give it to you. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. What? She came here after she left, Linda said softly. You were at work. She was crying. She looked terrified. She gave me the letter and begged me to wait before giving it to you. Why would you listen to her? Because she said reading it immediately would destroy you. The words hit harder than Ethan expected. Destroy you? What does that even mean? Linda shook her head slowly. She didn't explain everything. Then why keep it from me? Her voice cracked. Because I thought I was protecting you. Silence exploded between them. Ethan looked at the envelope again, his chest tightening so hard it hurt to breathe. A year of suffering. A year of unanswered questions. A year spent believing he simply wasn't enough for the woman he loved. And all along, there had been something waiting for him. His fingers hovered over the envelope, but stopped just short of touching it. Fear. That's what this was. Not anger. Fear. Because sometimes the unknown hurts less than the truth. Linda watched him carefully. I'm sorry, Ethan. He swallowed hard without looking at her. Did you read it? Her hesitation answered before her words did. Yes. Pain flashed across his face instantly. You read something meant for me? She wanted me to. Why? Linda looked down. Because she knew I'd have to help you survive after you read it. Ethan's stomach twisted violently. What kind of letter required survival? His hand finally touched the envelope. Cold paper. Slightly rough edges. It felt impossibly heavy for something so small. He slid a finger beneath the seal slowly. Knock. 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 The sound froze everyone instantly. 3 soft knocks at the front door. Ethan's heart stopped. Not metaphorically. Literally. For one terrifying second his body forgot how to function. Because something about those knocks felt familiar. Impossible. The room became silent except for the rain. Knock. Knock. A voice followed. Soft. Shaking. Ethan. Every muscle in his body locked. No. It couldn't be. His mother looked toward the door slowly but said nothing. The voice came again. Ethan, are you home? His pulse exploded. That voice. He knew that voice better than his own thoughts. Emily. After an entire year. Emily was standing outside his front door. Ethan pushed his chair back, so fast it nearly toppled over behind him. The envelope slipped from his fingers onto the table. His breathing turned uneven as he stared toward the hallway. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. He had imagined this moment too many times. Dreamed it. Hated it. Needed it. But reality never gives back what it takes away. Except tonight. Apparently it had. Ethan, Linda whispered carefully. But he was already moving. Every step toward the door felt unreal, like walking through water. His heartbeat pounded harder with each second. Questions crashed violently through his mind. Why now? Where had she been? Why disappear? Why come back? His hand trembled as it reached for the doorknob. Then slowly, he opened the door. Cold wind rushed into the house immediately, carrying the scent of rain and winter air. And there she was. Emily. Standing beneath the porch light. Snowflakes melted against her dark hair. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold, and her hazel eyes searched his face with nervous uncertainty. For a second neither of them moved. A full year disappeared inside that silence. She looked thinner, tired, different somehow, but still unmistakably her. Still the woman he had loved so deeply that losing her nearly destroyed him. Hi, she whispered. Ethan couldn't speak. Every emotion possible collided inside him at once. Relief, anger, love, confusion, longing, betrayal. Part of him wanted to pull her into his arms. Another part wanted to close the door. Emily swallowed nervously. I didn't know if you'd answer. His voice finally returned, rough and uneven. I almost didn't. Pain flickered across her face. She nodded slightly like she deserved that answer. Behind him, Linda quietly stepped away from the dining room, giving them space without saying a word. Emily's eyes drifted past Ethan briefly. Then she noticed the envelope sitting on the table. Her expression changed instantly. So she finally gave it to you. Ethan stared at her. You knew. Emily nodded slowly. I hoped she would eventually. Silence again. The rain softened outside, turning into a gentle whisper against the roof. Ethan tightened his grip on the edge of the door. Why are you here? Emily looked down at her shaking hands. Then back at him. Because I owe you the truth. And for the first time in an entire year, Ethan realized the story he believed about his own heartbreak might have been completely wrong.